Hello, you wonderful people. So for today's video, I want to kind of say goodbye to a Webtoon series that I just finished reading like 2 days ago at the time of me recording. It's called She's Hopeless. It is a manhwa Webtoon. Basically, really quickly, the premise behind it is that basically there's this high schooler named Taeyong. He basically goes to this specialized high school where they basically train you to be bodyguards. Well, Taeyong comes from a complicated situation where the only people left is him and his mom. His dad abandoned him and his mom a couple years ago and left him in a great amount of debt. So his mom is working like crazy, and so is Taeyong, working multiple jobs and going to school trying to pay off that debt that him and his mom are in. Well, he gets an opportunity when this massive Korean conglomerate called MK decides that they want to hire him to look after the president of MK. Her granddaughter's name is Gavin. Look after Gavin because Gavin goes to this very specific school and she's getting bullied, and they want to make sure she's protected. So Taeyong gets to secretly go undercover and protect her at this high school. And obviously he's going to be paid a whole bunch of money at the end of the 2 years of high school, because all you have to do is stay with her 2 more years and you get paid this amount of money to pay off your debt. But if she finds out the truth about you, because Gavin doesn't want anything to really do with her family or their protection, so that's where things kind of get complicated in that front. So that's why Taeyong has to keep it secret who he really is. But he initially thinks like, right, I'm just here protecting a girl who's getting bullied. But it turns out there's actually a lot more to it, because like a lot of people at this school hate Gavin for a very specific reason. And like when you read, you see her from a certain perspective, you think, oh, it's this way, but then you find out, oh my God, she's actually this. She's got a fiery personality, as kind of like the synopsis describes it, but you kind of like Taeyong is doing everything he can to kind of protect her from herself as well as the bullies at school. But that's just the beginning of it, because there's a lot more to it. The reason why Gavin acts the way she does, the things she does that makes so many people at the school resent her, there's a lot more to that, and you learn about it as the series goes on. I should have started off by saying like, this is a romance dramedy series. Like it has some funny moments to it, but it is a very dramatic like romance story. Like in the grand scheme of things, the story can be sweet and funny and endearing in a lot of ways, but there is also a dark element to this story. I'd say like there's a dark element, there's like heavy drama element, and there's a very dark element throughout the entire series. Personally, I think the second half of this series, the second season, might be even darker, more heartbreaking, and even more depressing than the first half. Like, because there's just some reveals and developments that happen in the second season are very gut punchy. Because in the grand scheme of things, I've explained the premise to you, and just based on like the synopsis I give you of kind of like the general storyline, you pretty much have an idea probably where the story is going to go, most likely, because I read the synopsis, and even before I read the series, I was like, it's probably going to go this way, and that's going to be sad, but maybe it'll turn out this way. And on both fronts, I was right. I won't spoil exactly what happens, but for the most part, if you're thinking you have an idea where the story's going to go, you will most likely be right. But I will put an asterisk beside that, saying that the series still takes routes even if you have an idea where the journey ends, the journey along the way is still important, because it's a journey worth taking, because of, like I said, there's so much to this story. It's not as, like I said, it's not as cut and dry and as simple as you think, because there are developments in the story I didn't see coming, certain reveals I didn't see coming, and it makes the story worthwhile. I mean, like I said, it's a sweet, beautiful story. I mean, without even spoiling the end, I think it has a beautiful ending. It's one of those endings where I'm like, I wish I had one more chapter, but then I'm also realizing if I had one more chapter, I'd just make an excuse of, I want one more, I want one more, I want one more. I just would never want it to end. But it having like a finite ending, there's actually a meta-ness to the fact is that the series has a finite ending, has a conclusive ending, which, once again, once you get to the end of the series, you'll understand what I mean by saying, like, it's very meta that it has a finite conclusive ending. But because the series also, interestingly enough, like, only follows like a small group of characters. Like I think in totality across the entire series, you're mainly for the most part following a total of 9 characters, and even amongst those 9 characters, only 5 of them get a lot of like get heavily flushed out. At 4 or 5 at most get heavily flushed out that it really revolves around. Those other characters have their roles to play in the story, but not as prevalently as these 4 or 5 characters. The series is complete. The series ran for like 2 years. It ran from like 2021 till about, I think, June of last year. So it's been less than a year since the series ended. But like I said, I think it is a worthwhile journey. The series isn't that long. It's only a grand total of like 103 chapters. The first season's like 54, and the second season season's like 49, but like it's worth it, and it can go by pretty quickly. I mean, I'd say though, like the chapters themselves are, you know, they're pretty average webtoon length, so to kind of give you an idea. But it's like I said, it's not that long of a series. I was actually looking into it too. I don't believe there has been any adaptations. Granted, the series did end like less than a year ago, so who knows what could be in the works. There's no guarantee this will ever get adapted in anything, whether it's like something live action or an anime. At least what I was Googling, it didn't seem like there was anything in the works that I'm aware of. But you know, once again, you never know what the future holds. But it's a great love story. It's a complicated love story, I should really put it. It's probably one of the most complicated love stories. And once again, I haven't read everything under the sun, so you might say this or that, but it's like at the end of the day, it's a beautiful story, and it's like I said, it's been like 2 days, and it's still sitting with me that it's done and that it's over, and I'm sad to kind of say goodbye to this story and these characters. That's what I'm saying. Like, I would want one more chapter, but I'm also saying like I was saying, like the ending wraps everything up so well. I mean, not everything is resolved, but for the most part, you get like a satisfying ending for a lot of stories. Like I said, some things are left like, well, what about this? What about that? Like I said, I won't go into any specifics, but like it's a series I highly recommend if you're looking for something like a romantic story, and like, you know, you're into like, you know, manhwa and stuff like that. I would highly recommend checking out. You know, once again, because like manhwa sensibility, or like manga and anime, like that sensibility when it comes to romantic stories might not be everyone's cup of tea. So, you know, like I said, it's like, you know, like anything, like there's a little bit you're like, oh, that seems cliche or whatever. I'm like I said, I think you'll probably have an idea where the story would go, but I think the journey's still worth taking, because you will be surprised along the way. And I think even the ending, even getting to the ending, some of those later chapters, you're like, oh, I wasn't expecting it to go this way. So I think even the ending, the journey to the very, very ending, will make you go, oh, I wasn't expecting this roller coaster. I know it didn't satisfy everyone, but the ending is what I wanted. In fact, this ending is what I needed from that story, and everything that is, like I said, it's a lot. There's a lot to that story that makes you go, woo. You know, so there's some pretty heavy stuff in that story. But yeah, that's kind of all I really wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.